It comes up as black.
As the doc is breaking all this foolishness down to her, do y'all see these comments on the screen? People are playing no games. They said too late, dummy. Wow.
You're smiling. Is this the smile to receive bad news or the smile to receive good news? 27. Wow. What the
Just a straight up fool and always trying to blame God.
God is so good. I cannot believe it. Such an answered prayer. I am just so happy.
Well, man, it's really time y'all start admitting that y'all don't know God. You don't know the true and living God, Yahweh, Yeshua. You don't. You don't. And it really irritates me how much so many of you like to blame God for what you're doing, and it's an answered prayer. But yet you're sitting up there in some doctor's office while you are yielding your body and yielding yourself, your health, everything, all the risks that come with it. You're yielding yourself to the science of a man, to the experimentation of a man. And what it really, really shows is that it's not showing an answered prayer. It's not showing anything about God while you sit up there and ask him with anticipation at the edge of your bed, drugged and woozy and trying to figure out why you over there tipsy on whatever medication you on, talking about, is that a smile of positivity, or is it good news or bad news? You shouldn't have to be waiting on the edge of your seat for some earthly man to give you the news that God is highly capable of giving you. But what it shows you is that you're not truly connected to the real God, and you've wasted your time. You've mismanaged your time. And it baffles me. It baffles me. It really does, because we sit up here, and this is why I continue to talk about the differences between how a young man ages and how a young woman ages. And the way they age are two totally different wavelengths. And that's why when it all comes down to it, because of the things that are on the plate of a man, the pressure and the brunt that these shoulders have to take in anticipation of providing for a family, setting the structure of a family, producing, protecting them, and making sure that everything's up under your name, it's God-like. It's Lord-like. You know what I'm saying? It's true leadership and stewardship. Whereas a woman, her way is a whole nother total different dynamic. And because of it, she doesn't have the same pressures. And in fact, that man is always, another pressure added to him is that he's always ready to die, knowing that I've given my woman all of the game. I've given her all the knowledge necessary, and she's going to be able to shape our children in the way that I started off with in the first place, because your family is your disciples. That's what a man is in his home. He's literally Christ. That's why Yeshua spent the last days of his life from the last when you get all the way down to the Last Supper and his capture and his crucifixion, and you think about the bonding that he had with his disciples, he literally, it was the reflection of what the church, the real church, not the building, but the vessel, the people, the ability that a Christ, a Lord, a Savior, they call him rabbi or teacher, a master, has the opportunity to choose his disciples and groom his bride, groom his church, as it's talked about in Ephesians 5. Miss LoLo Jones wouldn't know nothing about that here, because she's so caught up in all of the counter or the antichrist version or the counterfeit version of real marriage, the real relationship between a Christ and his bride, and how he has the power, the authority, the control to groom his bride into a glorious church, a glorious, spotless church. And in this day and time, you have more of women, these modern day feminists and all this different stuff. They squander and they waste so many good years and so much time that they find themselves in a position where you're submitting to somebody anyway. You got to submit your body and all your energy and all your health, good, bad, whatever. You got to lay it on some doctor's table and be his lab rat, because you didn't take your 20s serious when you were the most fertile, when you were the least at risk to carry children. Now you got to go through all this foolishness and rigmarole, and you want to highlight it and cut and show it off all over social media. Oh, I'm so thankful you sharing your journey and all this different stuff. Stop it. Just stop it. At the end of the day, these are games, and you just need to stop it. And if you really, really, really want the family that you claim you want, just be as advantageous as you were about your career, school, and everything else. Be that advantageous about a man. And stop dangling sex. Stop dangling you claiming to be a virgin and all this other. Stop dangling that stuff and just really go get a man. And then you won't have to go through all this foolishness. You might still have a chance. You might have a shadow or a glimmer of hope if you stop playing these rigmarole of games that you're playing out here, because it's foolishness at this point. But I'm out, and I ain't got time to play with y'all, and God ain't got time to play with y'all either. Stop these games, baby.